old men shouldn't be squeezing butts unless they're mine. And talking about taking shits. Welcome back to the minisodes.
Yeah.
Waiting to dry. I'm Joshua Lawyer.
I am Sergio Lopez.
And as I said, these are the minisodes.
We get into all sorts of topics like discontinued Taco Bell items.
Yeah.
And what you need to do to make money doing art. Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, people seem to like the episode. It's got a pretty good amount of
Which one?
downloads. The last one we did, we were talking about like art biz stuff.
Yeah. The biz. So like most, I don't even remember what the fuck. I feel like that was a lifetime ago.
I know it really was. It's like more than a month ago. This one.
God. What's our topic?
It was confidence versus like
versus entitlement.
yeah.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
If you're white, just kidding. You know, just kidding.
Check your privilege.
But yeah, I think I wrote that down as a topic because there's been first of all, confidence is like a tricky thing, right? Because all us as artists, we all want to be like, I don't know, I guess I'm okay or whatever.
Right.
And, you know,
it can be fleeting for some people.
Yeah. And then there's the Monties of the world.
Yeah.
That lack no confidence at all.
Right.
There's, I talked about it on the last podcast, but we were in a couple of, mural festival. Well, technically MJ was.
Yeah.
And, but people asked a ton of people asked how do you get into this mural festival? And I'm trying to get in and yada, yada. And
just like other artists passing by or like people hit you up on Instagram and stuff.
Like other people passing by. Okay. There's even people at coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah. That happens sometimes too when I do plein air events.
Yeah.
I know how they get in.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that, but there was also especially in the Sacramento one, there was this weird environment of a lot of the local artists hating that festival.
Oh, interesting.
But it's one of those things where maybe their skill wasn't that high of a level, you know?
Okay.
And I find there's a good amount of people that blame, let's say, their failures in their art pursuits on a facility, or let's say for instance a mural festival, or let's say or even the idea of if I just get into Juxtapoz magazine, you know, or if I get in this gallery, and then even with some of the artists that were a part of the thing, some of them were I think this gallery doesn't like me. Mm-hmm. Or even with the artists interacting with the other artists, some of them were
oh, really?
Oh, I think that person is annoyed by us or something like that.
Huh.
So it made me think about, even that's not entitlement, that's more insecurity or something like that. There's, for instance, there was a person that called me a pretentious cunt once. PC for short.
Yeah. Shout out to all you PCs. Listen.
But it was because they felt like I had to talk to them for a while. That's how it all started.
Right.
And in those,
it also turned out that person had mental issues. So.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if that was fully verified.
Oh, okay.
But maybe. I think so. But yeah. But I've met plenty of people that have this anticipation of what people that are part of the art world should do for them.
Okay.
Versus someone that's confident in their skills.
Yeah.
Or expects You know, like I don't know. They just are confident in their skills, maybe their ability to maneuver in this world or whatever. And to me, there's a very clear difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. That's why I don't know how you feel about this topic.
Well, I've never felt like entitled to anything. Like especially more and more so lately, I've always felt that like, the only thing I feel any sort of entitlement to is like anything that somebody has like agreed to do for me. Otherwise, right. I pretty much operate like nobody's going to do anything for me. Right. So I'm just going to have to like create my own opportunities for myself, really.
For
like,
sure.
The only time I ever think about like what might be entitled to me is like if I'm taking somebody at their word that they said they're going to do something for me. But other than that, I'm just like, no, I just maybe like even to a fault, I just operate like independently, thinking that I don't expect anybody to ever do anything for me. So I just have to like make sure that like the opportunities that I make for myself are because like I've earned that, or like I have the merit to do that. So yeah, I don't know if I've ever like actually had any feeling of entitlement for myself, at least.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know if you basically feel that way too.
No, I think I've had like false confidence, I would say.
Okay.
Like especially younger, you know, like a younger artist. Mm-hmm. I think I would be like, I need to do this. And so like I would be naive enough to think I should like have a show at a specific gallery.
Okay.
And be willing to like go to that gallery and being like, you guys should show my work. You know what I mean? And to me, there's nothing actually bad about that. Like the like naive confidence is like you're kind of like stumbling through like your ignorance of not knowing that you're not that good of an artist.
Sure. Okay.
And you have this idea that like, oh, my art's awesome. Mm-hmm. And you go and try to get these opportunities. And I think a lot of times us as artists, that kind of like confidence diminishes. And you get better as an artist. You know what I mean? It's like you lose confidence because you realize there's all these awesome artists, and then you lose that while gaining the skill to like be the artist that should be out there being like, let me get can I show with you? You know, but instead you're more insecure or something because you've learned that like there's amazing artists out there.
Right.
Where like I think entitlement is kind of like this thing where I don't know, for me it's a lot of times it seems like it's based off the anticipation of others' actions.
Okay.
So it's like, for me, I'm like, I'm a dope artist. I need to go get this show. Let me go get that shit.
Okay.
Entitlement to me a lot of times falls on the idea of like, why aren't these people doing this for me? Why aren't these outside sources like giving me what I think I deserve? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Why aren't like this gallery reaching out to me because I'm fucking awesome? Why, you know, like right. they anticipate everyone's actions.
I see.
Towards them. I think, at least to me, that usually reads as like this entitlement of like, I'm a dope artist. I deserve this thing. And why aren't people giving it to me? Where, at least for me, like when people are like confident, a lot of times they use that as a way to get what they want. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
You know, if the analogy is I'm confident when talking to girls, which I am not, it would be like, you know, like as far as like romantically or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
We've all have, like my brother's like an extremely confident person. He could talk to any girl anywhere and like flirt with her or whatever, or try to like whatever. And it's just that's not natural to me, you know?
Yeah.
and he's pursuing, he's I don't know, this is a horrible analogy. But like it's his actions, right? It's his confidence is leading his actions.
Yeah.
Where entitlement is very much, I think I deserve this, so you need to give it to me.
So like in that analogy, it'd be like the dude who's like mad that girls aren't coming up to talk to him.
Sure. Yeah. The beta testers of talking about classes.
Right.
But it's that person that's like, what do they call it? Incels or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like that guy that's like mad at a girl for falling in love with some dude because he secretly loved her or something.
Right.
And it's like,
and he comes up with this story in his head about like why she's a piece of shit.
Yeah. But he probably also anticipated like them falling in love before that she became a piece of shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like all these anticipation. It's the anticipation that this person is going to do what you want them to do for you. When no one is going to fucking do, like no one's, first of all, thinking about other people that much. And if they don't do it, it's not because they're like trying to fuck with you or hate you or whatever, at least for the most part. I'm sure there's some assholes out there. But for the most part, it's like people are just doing their shit, living their life. It's like, say if someone's like, why aren't you letting us onto your podcast? It's like, maybe because I don't know what to talk to you about. It's not because I don't like you. It's because maybe I don't know you, or maybe I don't like your art. And because of that, I don't want to fucking have a 2-hour conversation about art with you because I don't want shit to be awkward.
I see. Yeah.
Or hurt your feelings or something. You know what I mean? Or whatever. So it's like, but they might think that that's a diss. I hear it all the time with like people that have these ideas of how galleries think about them. It's like they literally might not know you exist, or they might, or
maybe they know you exist, but they already know like you're not going to be a fit for them.
Right.
Yeah. It's like they don't necessarily need to go out of their way to tell you that. Like, why would they?
Exactly. So, it is what it is. Or maybe they're just busy with like the next 2 years of shows, and they're like, oh, I didn't even, I'm already like 2 years out. I'm not even thinking about inviting someone to do a show, or who knows? I don't fucking know.
Right. And it could also be like, if you're thinking about like you're in line for something in that way, it could be that like go-getters just know how to like jump the line better than you. Yeah.
And they might have that blind confidence that led them through the door to go get that opportunity that you're sitting around waiting for. You know what I mean? I mean, it is what it is. The world's has fucked up shit. It's all not fair. Yada yada. But like, you can like sit and anticipate shit to be fixed, or you can like fucking like take your own like career or whatever into your own hands and go and pursue that shit.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the more, at least in my, like, what I've noticed is the more successful I've become in art, the less I feel like outside help is even necessary or even helpful for the most part. Like,
oh, interesting.
Like showing in galleries is great, but like it's a slow grind, just like everything else. I mean, there's no magic button. Like, say even if I sold out a show this year, next year is next year. That's still the grind.
Yeah.
There's no magical forever sellout button, right?
Right, yeah.
Unless you're Green Day and you're sellout, bro. But
downhill after the Duke, yeah. I just made that up. I have no idea if that's true or not.
No, I don't know either, but it sounds right. It sounds like something I've heard. But
Weezer or whoever. Insert your favorite indie band.
Yeah, or Kanye, whatever. But yeah, where the fuck was I? But yeah, the more you become self-sufficient, the less you need this magazine or this fucking gallery or this whatever opportunity to like make you whatever you think you want to be. Mm-hmm. You know, you're doing like it exists whether you're in that gallery or not.
Right. Yeah. The way I'm kind of looking at those kind of things right now is like I'm using it a little bit as like a gauge to like test where I'm at, both like career wise and like artistically. Like if I see an opportunity to apply for something and and I could look at it like if I either like win an award or, you know, make it into like a gallery show or whatever, I can be like, okay, I could see that this is what this particular market is looking for right now from me. Like I'm on the mark with them. Doesn't necessarily mean like that's going to be what I go for all the time.
Right.
Or like I'm basing too much of my own career on it, but it's like a good way for me to be like, okay, I'm not like too far off the mark if I'm applying to these shows and getting into them.
Sure. But let's say this. Let's say if all of a sudden, independent of any galleries, you could sell $100,000 worth of artwork. Right? Then that concept would disappear immediately. You wouldn't go like, oh, I wonder where I am in this like in the status of this. I think like,
well, I wouldn't rely on them for like the shows or anything like that, but it'd still be for me my own sort of research being like, okay, where am I at in terms of like how other people are looking at my artwork.
Right. But the question, at least to me, the question would be, that's fine, but is it worth, say if you could sell $100,000 worth of artwork independently of anything, the question now is like, is it worth giving this gallery $50,000 to answer that question?
Oh, okay. Oh, no, definitely not.
Right. So then you would have to redefine that idea and go like, is there a different way to answer that question?
Yeah.
Regardless of like being in this gallery or not, because that's what I mean is like the more self-sufficient you are, the less these things are justified, or, you know, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah. I guess I wasn't looking at it like, oh, I'm giving away my inventory to rely on this gallery to sell it for me. It was more just like, if I have a piece that I, you know, can give to a gallery for a group show for a little bit.
Yeah.
And just like figure out, okay, what's the response on it from
But I think that scenario, like group show stuff is fine because, yeah, first you're putting one painting in, but it's also like, obviously I still want to work with galleries, and you build a relationship with them, and there's, you know, you it's a business, but it's also like you want to be in business with people you enjoy being in business with, with people that take their business very seriously, with people that, you know, pay you the amount they owe you, things like, you know, like there's all these determining factors, but like, the like whole idea of, you know, this validating me as an artist, I think quickly disappears. The more self-sufficient you are, or maybe the more successful you are in other things that can, you know, give you what that is.
Yeah.
That validation.
Yeah, I guess
artists might seek.
For me, when you don't have to have the financial part of it enter into the equation, then it's just for me like maybe it's just my own like self-satisfaction or something, just knowing where I'm at, like in terms of like my peers or whatever. You know,
sure, yeah.
Then that's great. Then I don't have to rely on galleries in that way. But I still want to be like connected to the art scene at large.
For sure.
So that gives me a good way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not against that at all. It's just against the like the idea that these are the things that make you
right
an artist. I mean, our community, I mean, the galleries in general, I'm for them being successful. I just think I have an expectation of how I think they should run. And I'm sure they have an expectation of how artists should work as well.
Yeah.
And it's probably something around, give me your fucking art on time. Make sure you fill these walls.
Yeah.
Don't be super difficult. And I'm sure there's plenty of galleries that don't work with talented artists because they don't enjoy working with them.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. Artists should think the same way.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
You know,
If a gallery's not paying you on time, especially when they say like they'll pay you within 30 days or whatever, and they don't, that's a big red flag.
yeah, and there's mutual benefits to both artists and gallery, right? So if you work with a gallery that's a reputable gallery that seems like it's something that has a buzz to it, obviously there's benefits to that. And just like a gallery working with artists that have a buzz to them or that are talented and work well, that there's a benefit to that. So like, it's not a one-sided thing. And I'm sure galleries know that one artist isn't going to change, their gallery success. And I'm sure, and I feel like artists don't really understand that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. There might be some galleries out there, newer galleries, that think they need to go for that. I mean, maybe they do just to like establish their reputations.
Well, it's just a slow grind is what it is, right? So you show an artist that's more reputable, and hopefully you get more and more reputable artists, and then hopefully you get more successful reputable artists who have a bunch of collectors. But it's a slow grind, and like there's no one artist that creates it, just like there's no one gallery that makes you succeed,
right?
Or whatever.
Exactly.
I always say, like, if you suck and you show with the best gallery in the world, you still suck.
Yeah.
I mean, they might be able to convince people that you're good, and you might become Pollock. I don't fucking know. But like, I'm not. But like, to me, like, just because you show with a really good gallery doesn't mean that your art's good or that you're going to sell out or that you're going to become some success story.
Jackson Pollock, more like Jackson Pollock's Zing.
I would assume that a lot of the artists that show at successful galleries that are very successful, if you looked at their work ethic and how they grind, I would be very surprised if they weren't like consistently working hard at their craft, at their grind, at their marketing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
A part of that's the gallery, not all of it. It's not some like, yes, I made it. Like,
right.
So I don't know how this ties into our topic.
Just knowing that like you have to work for it, like you're not entitled to anything because you're grinding out there.
Yeah, it's just
like
the
lack of grinding.
Just don't anticipate someone else's actions as far as like, I would say. You can be confident. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being like...
Yeah, it's probably a requirement on some level.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe another really interesting question is, why the fuck do artists slowly lose confidence the more they get, the better they get at their craft? It's just like, it's probably like the similar thing is to like, the smarter you get, the more dumb you feel kind of thing,
Yeah. It's that whole like, what's the opposite of Dunning-Kruger? There's a word for it.
Dunner.
Yeah.
And like, for instance, like me, because I know that rule, I'm the dumbest idiot in the world. That proves that I'm the smartest person in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's how it works, yeah.
Yeah. Loopholes, bitches. Learn them.
These are the smart
so dumb
to succeed at art.
But yeah. I don't know. Did we nail it? How long do we do?
I don't know.
Did you have anything else to add to that? Entitlement versus confidence.
Yeah. To me, it's not even like a versus thing as much, but I get how they tie into each other for sure. But it's more, the entitlement.
Do you think there's a justified entitlement at all in this scenario?
Only,
well, I mean, you said if someone commits to something,
right? Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I feel like that's it's hard for me to justify any sort of entitlement. Really,
right.
It's like some people. I don't know if it's so much like you're only as good as your last show, because I don't really believe that either. Maybe like if you've done it for long enough and you've had enough of a proven track record and you've worked with a gallery long enough, you might be entitled to a not so successful show here and there.
Sure. Yeah. I would agree to that.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, like if you really start to fall off and you're like not.
But even then, I don't think that's entitlement as much as like, I would assume if you wanted to experiment a bit or something like that.
Yeah.
And take a leap, you should have a conversation with it. If you have a gallery you work with consistently, I would say probably have a conversation with them and let them know.
But even that, like both parties are entitled to converse with each other.
Right. Yeah.
You're not even owed that.
Right.
Just like pulling the wool over somebody's eyes and just be like, hey, I'm just going to do like abstracts now.
Right. Yeah.
Without like talking about it.
Yeah. Which I'm going to start doing.
Yeah. You can start doing murals on your canvas.
I just assume that like this, we were saying earlier that like, or the last episode that like, when you're in your youth, you have like moody, sad art.
Yeah.
And then when you're really old, I feel like a lot of artists become more abstract painters. So I assume if I become an abstract painter now, then by the time I'm old, I'll be next level.
He'll be full circle. You'll be doing moody poetry art.
Who knows where I'll be then?
Yeah.
So fucking past everyone. Go, you're in your abstract phase. I did that years ago.
Right.
I'm like 200 now in art.
Right.
No one's ever reached this level.
It's me. It's Wayne Tebow at 100, and it's everyone else.
Exactly. What was he doing what was he painting? Was he still
He's actually, that's a
Cakes?
Crocker museum. Yeah, still doing the cakes.
Okay.
But yeah, he's doing a show at the Crocker Museum.
I thought he just died.
No, he just hit 100.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to hop on the podcast,
Yeah.
that'd be fucking awesome. I would love to get him on a podcast. Holy shit. San Francisco legend.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's crazy. So he's still painting cakes, hills, and cars?
I'm not sure what he's painting right now, but I'm just assuming that he's still painting.
I hope it's something like old man perverty stuff.
Like
He's just like, I'm out the door.
yeah. Like Japanese girls like on a train, like stuff like that.
It's just like butts. He's like, I got new cakes.
Like that one guy, what's his name? Malcolm Lepke. He just paints like girls like skirts are like super like close up things that just like butts and stuff.
I don't even know. I would have to look at his work.
Okay.
But it's not that cool until you're an old geese. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're like,
You're just that old, like little short Italian man who goes around pinching butts. It's like,
yeah.
like what? I'm entitled. I've been doing this for 100 years.
Yeah. And that's justified entitlement.
Yeah. That is the most non-woke thing we've ever seen.
I know. We don't agree with this. For all you people ready to leave a review, holy shit, it's called a joke. Old men shouldn't be squeezing butts unless they're mine.
Right.
But yeah. And we don't think Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
Especially him, because he's
a Jesus guy.
Yeah, he's got God on the brain.
Tim Tebow, Wayne Tebow. What's the difference? Right?
You know, me and names. Who knows how many names I got wrong earlier?
All right.
Gotta keep referring to the last podcast episode. We recorded these on separate days from the last episode.
Yeah, it's like my
Just like-
my strategy.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, we
right.
did it.
All right.
Be confident, not entitled.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next time, be confident, so that you can demand your genie bidet.
Yeah. Get that asshole clean.
All right. Fuck off, guys.
Yeah.